sitting here with Dr. David Batista, PhD. He is our new Speaker, Director of Global Operations here at Adventist World Aviation. Dr. David, would you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely, yes. So, hello everybody. My name is David, and it's my great pleasure to serve Adventist World Aviation as a Speaker and Director of Operations. And it's, in fact, it's more an honor to be able to serve an institution that has nearly 3 decades flying and saving lives around the globe. We've been definitely very, very busy over the past 2 or 3 months serving those that were affected by Hurricane Helene. So we are very excited to tell them, Rebecca, the great things that God and our donors have helped us to accomplish.
You've been with AWA for about 2 years now, right?
Yes, that's right.
So did you start out as a pilot, or what exactly was that journey?
No, I have not. So I served the church, the very same church that we work for, that we serve on behalf of for 14, 15 years in the United Kingdom, where my kids were raised. But I had a passion, and I had an ambition, if I can say like that, which was flying. So at some point I decided that I would get my pilot's licenses, and I went to South America and I got all my licenses, the necessary licenses to serve. And my first experience with AWA in the actual field was in Guyana, Mabruma, where I was absolutely fascinated by what AWA is doing there, the many lives they are saving, the many kids they are rescuing. So I was absolutely thrilled to see what we are doing there, what we can achieve by God's help and obviously always our supporters. So 2 years ago I left conventional ministry to join a very particular, special and amazing ministry, which is AWA. So since then I've been serving AWA. I spent 2023 in Mabruma, Guyana, where we were blessed by a couple that stepped forward, Rob and Sue. They're now serving the Mabruma project, and I'm taking now care of some other responsibilities, including overseeing, managing, supporting, encouraging, and empowering our missionaries around the globe, from Nicaragua to Guyana, from the Philippines to Alaska, from Canada to here, our headquarters in North Carolina, as well as Uganda in Africa, and trying to expand to Poland and Congo and Brazil and Mozambique. So we have connections all over the place. So we can't wait to share with you, our listeners, the amazing news that your prayers, your support, and your donations are making as we save lives. So yes, that's my short journey, which is really just starting with AWA.
That must have been quite a transition, going from England to coming to here, but not just that, going from just working as a pastor in the conference to then suddenly uprooting and diving into this thing called AWA and deep mission work. What was that process like? How did that whole thing come to be?
It's more than a process. It's a decision-making process, because the whole thing of leaving conventional ministry to go into a different ministry, a supporting ministry that works for or on behalf of the church, or perhaps carrying out the name that we love in the church that I've served for a decade and a half. That was a big decision, actually. I was there serving for a decade and a half, where I started my ministry. I did all my studies. I got ordained, which is where God confirmed my calling by my ordination in 2017. After that call, then the process moved forward, and I was able to transition England, where I was serving the South England Conference, to South America, where I could get my extra licenses, since at that time I was already a private pilot. And then I went there to get my commercial license, instrument, as well as multi-engine. So this is my journey. And then after that, as I told you, I spent a year in Guyana, and that was a real blessing before landing here in North Carolina, Wilson, where our headquarters is based.
When we were beginning to help with the Hurricane Helene disaster relief efforts, you were part of that initiative, and you were going out and flying along with our group of volunteer pilots at the time. What was it that you saw and you personally experienced, especially coming from a spiritual background and now a missionary background? What was that like?
Yes, that's actually a good question. All we could experience was distraction everywhere, and actually being the first one to get there, when most of those places that we arrived, that we reached, they were actually landlocked, since the roads were blocked, full of trees and mud everywhere.
Were they washed out?
Oh yeah, that was right after Hurricane Helene came. So I had the privilege, actually, I consider that an amazing privilege and honor to be able to help. So yes, bringing food, medication, insulin. We even brought insulin in one of the flights, not myself, but yet one of our volunteer pilots, as well as baby supplies. So yes, being involved and flying with one of our volunteer pilots, Shasha, it was a real blessing. And challenging though, but a real blessing to be able to serve on behalf of an institution that we love and serve.
And it seems like too, it's also kind of a double blessing when you think about it, because you're not just flying as you're flying alongside volunteers that may or may not have a really close relationship with God. So while you're out helping people, you're also giving them a glimpse of what Jesus' love looks like in action, so that they have an opportunity to get to know their Savior.
Definitely, yeah, that's very true. So yes, indeed, serving, it's a double serving, double portion of serving. Absolutely, yes.
Can you share with us a little bit about what our chief pilot, Jarrett Moss, just did this past week?
Oh yes, Jarrett Moss is our new acquisition, and he's a very experienced flight instructor, and he's now serving AWA as our chief pilot. And on Friday, something amazing happened just a few days ago, where Judy, our fundraiser, as well as Jared, went on an amazing journey, picking up toys from one location, dropping to another location, and then another load to a third location, dropping toys, and obviously more than toys, dropping happiness and joy this very particular and special time of the year. Toys for the kids that were affected by Hurricane Helene. I'm sure that most of them lost their homes. So the least we can do is bringing hope in the form of toys to those kids. And what I have heard is that they could see smiles that no money can buy. And that's very exciting that we are able to share that with you. And at the same time, thank our donors, our listeners, for being part of this amazing journey that helps us, so that we are able to bring joy and happiness to those kids.
What's wonderful is the fact that our Savior had that same experience. He didn't come into the world with a house or anything fancy or any comforts. He was born in a stall and placed into a manger, and all he had was just little swaddling clothes around him, but yet gifts were brought.
Oh yes, and actually when we think from that perspective, the greatest gift we could have got, we already received, which was Jesus Christ's sacrifice on the cross, which is, absolutely more than enough for us to be happy. And we are in fact just God's hands saving, helping, supporting, loving, and assisting those that are in need.
Yep. And that is all the more life that we need, is knowing that God has us in his hands, that he went out of his way to send his son to save us, to give us hope, to give us that redeeming love in action. And that's exciting. And here we were able to give some redeeming love and hope back to these kids.
And actually, what a privilege being God's hands to those kids. So they are certainly, they think they are getting toys, but in fact, they are getting prayers. As every interaction that Jared and Judy had on that particular day was really filled with prayers for those kids, that they don't receive toys but a blessing from us and from everybody who was part of it, who is part of it, and who will be part of it in future. So once again, thank you so much to our daughters, to our listeners, that you are the reason why we can do what we can do, saving lives, bringing hope, bringing joy. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much, Rebecca, for your time.
Rebecca Stevenson. I am the Executive Administrative Assistant here at Adventist World Aviation, and with me I have here today Jarrett Moss, our Chief Pilot, and Miss Judy Ingram. She is our donor caregiver. She loves on all of you that call in, and we are here discussing an exciting thing that we have been involved with recently for the Helene disaster efforts. While you may recall a while back that we had done some special flights for the disaster right after it happened. We were flying for almost 2 weeks straight, about 150 hours worth, and we were moving supplies and all the essentials that these people are and were in need of. And they still have needs, some special needs. We were able to fly some toys to help the kids that have been affected from these terrible events that have just absolutely overtaken their lives. Here at AWA, we're a small group. We're mighty in our efforts, we're mighty in our faith, and we enjoy going above and beyond to try and help those that are in need, especially those in our backyard. So we have here Jarrett Moss. He is our Chief Flight Instructor and Chief Pilot here at AWA. How did you get involved with Adventist World Aviation?
I started as a flight instruction company. From there, I was offered an opportunity to start volunteering for Adventist World Aviation. And I was like, well, what is that? And so I had to start doing some research on the company, and I found the website, and I really loved what the company was doing. I loved the message that it was spreading and what it was doing for humankind. And I said, yep, that's right up my alley. That's something that I want to be involved in. And I volunteered. During the Hurricane Helene relief, that was huge. They were flying nonstop every day around the clock to make sure that supplies were getting flown to Western North Carolina. There were other pilots that were flying Monday through Friday. I was still working at another job, which kept me from volunteering during Monday through Friday. But I told the pilots, hey, you guys take a break Saturday and Sunday. I said, I'll take over and do those flights. You guys need a break. And so for 3 weekends straight, I flew Saturday and Sunday, sun up to sundown, to keep supplies moving to Western North Carolina. And I really loved and enjoyed what I was doing. From there, AWA called me and said, you need to be working for us. And so after some careful thought and consideration and prayer over it, I decided that was the best course of action. So I came aboard AWA, and I'm super happy to be here.
I look at your wonderful shirt there, and you've got a very interesting, unique logo. While we're normally AWA, I see that reads W4H. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So stands for Wings for Humanity. It's the other side of Adventist World Aviation, and basically it is to bring relief to any disaster areas or any type of humanitarian mission that we can provide to help others and to help humankind. That's the goal of Wings for Humanity, to provide that level of humanitarian aspect to the mission.
Jarrett, can you tell us a little bit about the flight that you took this past Friday in delivering toys for the Helene relief efforts?
So we started off our morning here in Wilson, North Carolina. We departed right around about 10 a.m. For Greensboro International Airport, where we stopped and picked up toys there where they were organizing the event. We left Greensboro Airport and departed for Tri-Cities Airport in Tennessee, where we delivered our first load of presents there. It was a beautiful flight, such a wonderful opportunity to get to fly toys to kids in need for this Christmas, to make sure that they have a Christmas this year. It meant a lot to me. We left Tri-Cities Airport and went back to Greensboro to pick up a second load of toys and departed again for Asheville. It was brought to my attention from a group that I'm a part of, the Carolina Aviators Network, who helped orchestrate the general aviation airlift side of the relief efforts. They posted that they were doing a Operation Appalachian Airlift, and they were collecting toys for the relief flights to Western North Carolina. From there, I contacted the organizer and stated that we were interested, and they asked us to sign up for a time slot to arrive in Greensboro to pick up the toys. So that's what we did. We scheduled a time slot to arrive, and we went to Greensboro to pick them up at the time slot, and that's how we were notified about the Operation Appalachian Airlift.
So once you were done with Greensboro, then you went to Asheville, and was that the only area that you were doing flights for? How many loads did you take?
So yes, we only made 2 loads that day. We went to Tri-Cities Airport as well as Asheville Airport. In between flying across the Appalachian to get to Tri-Cities Airport, there were entire mountainsides where the trees were all down, where that entire area had just became mud, where the mud just ran down the side of the mountain. So we got to see a lot of hard hit areas in that region.
So Miss Judy, what was it like going on this mission? I understand that this was a first for you on a couple of levels.
Yes, it was. It was first time I'd ever flown in a non-commercial airplane, and I was thrilled to death. I was just absolutely thrilled to go. You know, I had heard all these things. I was going to be scared. I was going to, get sick to my stomach. I was going to do this. I didn't. I just floated. I just flew. It was wonderful. Even though all the devastation happened in the mountains, it was wonderful to see them. The Appalachians are so beautiful. But you could see the devastation. You could see the trash piled up as things had come down the mountains, buildings and things. And you could also see the roads that had collapsed. And it was just devastating, but it was wonderful to see the people, to see how hopeful they are in such a bad situation. We were told that some of them whose cars escaped the flood, they were living in their cars still. Some are still just living on the land, and maybe in a tent, and it's cold. And we had when we went to Bristol, Tennessee, and to Asheville, we had young kids out helping us unload, and they were just thrilled. They were just thrilled.
Yeah, a lot of times in these situations, the kids really begin to shine because they recognize the need, and they want to be there to try and help and uplift those around them.
This one little girl, she was so sweet. She said to me, "Did you come on the plane?" And I said, "Yes, I came on the plane too." I don't know where she thought I came, but she was so sweet. It was my very first flight on a private plane. So, I'm just amazed. I'm looking at all the instruments I'm trying to figure out, and I'm asking Jared, what is all this? What does this do? What does that do? And while the whole while being able to see the world in a whole new perspective. That, we don't get to do that on a commercial flight. We can just peek out the little tiny window. But we had, we could see all around us and how beautiful it was. I asked Jared at one point how high were the Appalachian Mountains, because to me, to look at it for the very first time, I was like, we're going to fly right into that mountain. And I tried to ask it all coolly so I wouldn't appear to be a big scaredy cat. But I said, how high is that mountain? He said 6,000 feet. I said, how high are we? I just tried to be nonchalant about it. And he said 7,000. I was like, okay. It was just wonderful. But to be able to do that, I can see why everybody, why all these pilots love what they're doing. Not only are they doing great things, but just the reward of being able to see the country, to see the scenery, how beautiful it is, and Jarrett's a fantastic pilot, and it was just an absolutely wonderful day for me.
So that must have been really special, being able to spread that love of Jesus for that time on Friday, and then taking that with you into the Sabbath hours.
It was wonderful. We even we flew back Friday evening, Sabbath, and Jarrett let Asheville know that we were in their area, and he turned to me and he said, Judy, we're the only two people in the sky right now over Asheville. And it was a beautiful, clear night. You could see everything. And I just turned to Jarrett and I said, Happy Sabbath, Jarrett. And we rejoiced in all that we had done that day, and how it was just an absolute blessing to even think about being a part of it. It was just, I can't say enough, and how enjoyable it was to be with these people, and how excited they were for these toys to go to the kids. So I do appreciate the opportunity that AWA has given me to minister to people all around the world.
Otherwise, you would never have had the opportunity to.
Oh, I never. I called my daughter and I said, you just won't believe what I did today. And, I said I was in Greensboro, then I was in Bristol, Tennessee, then I was in Greensboro, then I was in Asheville, then I was back home, and it was all in one day. And it was just the ability to be able to minister just gives me great respect for AWA. And having finished what we had just done, it was, I can't put it in words about how huge it was to my heart. I wish I could put it in words, but I really can't. It was tremendous.
That is wonderful. Jarrett, how do you think the overall impact was, from your perspective, when you landed at both these two airports?
I believe the impact was very big. We were very well received at both locations, at Tri-Cities and Asheville, and I think we were definitely able to make a difference in these kids' lives.
What did it do for you personally? Is it easier to feel a greater connection when you're there in person as opposed to just hearing about it? Is it something you want to keep doing? Does it give you a feeling of being energized when you're able to help on this level? And you too, Miss Judy, how does that work for you?
Oh, I told Jarrett, don't go anywhere anymore without me. I just loved it. The reward that you feel is the feeling like this is what we were put here to do. This is what we need to be doing to help people that need the help. So I can't say enough. I told Jarrett it was the best day I'd had in 25 years. So it was just a wonderful day. A sad occasion to have to do it, but so glad that we had the opportunity to bless these children.
And for me, it's very heartwarming. to be able to give back to others in need. There's no feeling like it. I'm very glad that I was able to do it, and I will continue to do it in any way, shape, or form that I can continue to help.
So, being here at AWA, we're privileged to be able to do things like this. This is what we're all about. We don't just go into the community in third world countries, second world, remote areas, hard to reach places. We also do that here. And boy, what a privilege that is. Because when you have that opportunity to share the love of Jesus in the capacity of something so simple as giving a gift, that's huge. We have Jesus who 2,000 years ago was our gift for salvation. And to be able to share just a little bit of the joy of love at Christmas time, it's huge. Because we all remember, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. The gift is love, and that's what we like to give people in return, is that love. And we take it into the community wherever we can, whether it's flying someone who is in need, or it's maybe doing Bible studies with them, or even in this case, flying insulin, flying toys, flying the most basic necessities and essentials that people are in need of during a crisis. That's huge. And you guys all help to make that possible because you support us. Thank you so much. And I hope that this next year we'll be able to do even more, because more of you will see the extraordinary impact that you have on our ability to go out and do these things on a day-to-day basis, sharing God's love wherever and however we can. Thank you for being a part of it with us.
These are the adventures of Adventist World Aviation. Its ongoing mission to go into all the world, the final frontier, to reach out and save the lives of the lost, suffering, or perishing, to seek out primitive civilizations, to help those in need, to reach the unreachable, to seek out new life in Christ, to boldly go where no missionary has gone before.